Hey guys, and welcome back to the IDP Plus offensive rankings for Week 9. I'm here to tell you who is the greatest and who's not. And guess what? It is Halloween weekend and we're loving it. We are ready to go. So guess what? Stick around, find out what we got coming up. You know what? A great Week 8 was in the books. Chiefs again look like Super Bowl contenders. They're trying to challenge everybody, easily handling the Commanders on Monday night. But guess what? Be sure to check out the consistency articles at Big Guy Fantasy Sports and IDP Plus. Check everything else. These things are going to give you the most in-depth details on how you can be a contender moving forward. Guys, we passed Armageddon. We're moving on to next week. So guess what? Just like every week, I'm going to highlight a few players at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. We're going to do that. These are DFS plays. These are PPR plays. These are guys that I like in the top 12. I'm going to highlight a couple of those guys that I like more than consensus just so we can get going. So let's move right in. Quarterbacks. Last week, guess what? 7 of 9 hit. The reason I say out of 9, we had 3 DNPs. I know. Got a comment from it. We got Jaden Daniels. We got Lamar Jackson. We got some certain guys missing some time. Doesn't matter. That's all right. I'd been doing this earlier in the week. I'm kind of letting it go back towards the end of the week right now because of the fact, you know as well as I do. You get some Tuesday updates, some Wednesday updates. Wednesday is a Veterans Day off. A lot of people get hit. Let's keep moving and try to find out where everybody's at. Like I said, we had 7 of 9 last week. And our fade last week was an MVP candidate, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott of the Cowboys has been lighting it up all year, loving it, killing it. I said I don't like him as a top 12 last week. Guess where he finished? Guess. QB 22. So even in a 2-quarterback league, you might have been lucky to play him. I told you he wasn't going to do a whole lot against the Broncos. It was a great fade, great call for what we did. Let's move into this week, guys. It's week 9. Some of us 2 and 6, 3 and 5. We're working on some stuff. Some of us kind of cashing in. We're winning games. Let's go. Obviously, DFS. Josh Allen, man. It's the Kansas City versus Buffalo game. There's no way to twist it around. Weather might be a little rough, and I'm kind of worried about that, but at the same time, Josh Allen is my QB1 this week. He was tied for QB9 last week. He is versus the Kansas City Chiefs this week. Number 2, it's Patrick Mahomes, man. Patrick Mahomes at Buffalo, QB5 last week. What are you going to do? Allen and Mahomes throw up great numbers every single week. It's what they do. QB3, guess what? It's the guy we faded last week. It's Dak Prescott. This week, he's at home versus Arizona. He was QB 22 last week. The fade was good, but guess what? It ain't going to be good this week. They're going to own that. They're going to win. They're going to do whatever they need to do. QB4, I had caught it, and I would have loved it. And I know we're behind it, but Lamar Jackson, the 4 touchdowns that he threw last night at Miami, fantastic. Great. And guess what? If I had to move him down, I will. Give me Justin Herbert right behind him, and I'll go on to that. QB5, Justin Herbert. Which, like I said, they're going to be there too. He's going to do everything that needs to be done. He's at Tennessee. He was QB3 last week. I don't think they're going to need him to air it out a lot, but I think he's going to put up a ton of points against Tennessee's defense this week in Tennessee. QB6 for me is Matthew Stafford. He's getting Puka back this week. It looks like everything on track is there. Don't get me wrong. Don't hate me. Don't scream me. Don't yell at me if Puka gets knocked out at the end of the day. I get it. Even then. Devontae Adams is a beast. The Rams are one of a few teams in the entire NFL that have multiple wide receiver ones. And Stafford is kind of this year's, I guess if you want to, Joe Burrow, that type of quarterback. I don't recommend buying into them, but at the same time, when they hit 40 plus, 38 plus touchdowns, they're in the top. You can't bank for that every year, but like it. QB7 for me this week. This was hard on me, but I love it. It's Kyler Murray against Dallas. You can't rank a quarterback against Dallas less than QB7, QB8. And even if Brissett gets the call, I think Flacco's going to play. I mean, not Flacco, but Murray's going to play. I like it a lot. But if Brissett plays, either one. I like both of them in my top 8 this week, QB7. My QB8 this week is Joe Flacco for the Cleveland Browns. Cincinnati Bengals. My man just keeps throwing for 300 yards wherever he goes, whatever he does. The Bengals traded for him. Jamar Chase has had 4 straight consistent games as a wide receiver. 1 with Joe Flacco. You can't beat that. If Flacco was good, pay attention to the injury report. Pay attention. And I'll tell you that time and time again. They are against Chicago at home in Cincinnati. Flacco was QB7 last week, man. I mean, like, he's doing all things Burrow was going to be doing, so, yeah, pay attention. My QB9 this week, I've done this before and I'll do it again. It's the 49ers. It's Purdy or Mac Jones. I don't care. Apparently, they seem to be the same person, seem to do the same thing. They do what they want to do. The New York Giants give up the 6th most points to quarterbacks. They're without Cam Scatterboo. They're going to be in a world of hurt. You know, I mean, yeah, Brock might be questionable. If it's Mac, then let's go. Mac Jones was QB 14 last week. He just missed top 15 or top 12, excuse me. And that's it. Kittle was back. Ton just looked good filling in. Kendrick Bourne has looked good. Jawan Jennings had his first full practice. I love it. So let's go with that. QB10. A lot of people don't like it. But like I said, I'm all on it. Bo Nix. Denver Broncos versus Houston. They're going to Houston. They're going to play there. Don't love it a lot. But Bo was QB6 last week. Sean Payton. Last year, we thought about he took the training wheels off. It's not the training wheels anymore. He knows what Bo's capable of. He knows what they can do. Love it. QB11. Jaden Daniels at home versus Washington. Got cleared. He's going to be starting this week. I might have him ranked too low at 11, but I love it there. McLaurin has already been ruled out. Jaden's the type of quarterback we can't be sure if You know, I mean, even if he's out or his top weapons are out, he's the kind of quarterback that'll do things that he can put a rushing floor that nobody else can, other than maybe Lamar, other people, but there's no way you can mark him out of the top 12 if he's playing. QB 12 for me, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is playing for the Colts versus Pittsburgh. Indiana Jones. Love it. I don't know if anybody else notices. Pittsburgh gives up the 5th most points to quarterbacks. They paid a ton of money for their secondary. It has not worked out. It's not working out as well as they think. Coming in right now, Daniel Jones has a 57% clutch rate. That's not great. But guess what? He's got 2 straight. He's going to make it 3 straight right here in front of Pittsburgh. And he's got 6 of 8 games with 2+ touchdowns this year. Love it. My fade of the week. I don't like it a lot because I've been loving him all year. It's Drake May. I know. I can hear y'all. We saw what Miami did last night. They didn't know. They didn't. But anyway, that's not their defense. Atlanta's defense pressures quarterbacks, does a lot of stuff. I love Drake May. But I'm going to tell you this. He was QB 13 last week. He's facing Atlanta. They're going to hit him with a lot of pressure, a lot of exotic looks. And Atlanta only gives up the 7th least amount of points to quarterbacks, even after Tua's big game. That big game last week seemed huge. The point being is May has been sacked the 2nd most times coming into week 9. 28 times. Only behind Cam Ward, Tennessee. We all know how that's worked out. We've all seen Cam Ward. Atlanta will dial up the pressure. They drafted insanely well to dial up that pressure. And they're going to do that. And I'm going to tell you this. When May gets pressured, it's going to look different. I go on record with it. Call me out. Hey, hit me up on X, Jay Keezy. Let's talk about it. I'm going to tell you this. Dre May is not going to look like the same passer this week against them, against the Atlanta Falcons. Buys this week. We got the Browns on by Dylan Gabriel. I mean, you're probably not starting him. Justin Fields, maybe you are. Justin Fields is the biggest here, down, yeah. Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield. Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield hurting a little bit, but yeah, hey, keep an eye on some quarterbacks that you can start for that week. I like one of the 49ers quarterbacks if nobody's paying attention. Love Mac Jones. Love Bo Nix too if people are playing around with him. So pay attention. Running backs this week. How did we do last week? 7 of 11. The reason we say that, I would have said 8 of 12, but Scatterboo. Yeah, we're going to miss that boy. Him and Jackson Dart made the Giants so much more watchable and did that. But either way, so we lose him. We were 7 of 11. We knocked it out. Josh Jacobs was our fade last week. RBA 19. Jacobs still doesn't look fresh. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Last 3 weeks, he's been continually going down in touches. I don't know what they're doing. Emmanuel Wilson looks good. Jacobs was RB19 last week. Emmanuel Wilson was RB21. I don't know what that means 100%. I know that it does mean this. They're not relying on Jacobs the way they were early in the season. It was a good fade last week. That's the best we can do there. And hey, I tell you, he's not going to be an RB12. He's an RB19. I enjoy that. That's good. That's a win. This week, week 9, RB1 is Christian McCaffrey at the New York Giants. He was RB25 last week. That was weird. That was really weird. But it's Christian McCaffrey. He's in the top 10 in receiving yards in the NFL. Not for running backs. No. The NFL, including wide receivers. So I'm not really worried about him. And number 2, you can probably flip them around. It's Jonathan Taylor at Pittsburgh. He was RB1 last week. These two guys, I mean, him and McCaffrey, they're almost locked every single week for 100-plus yards from scrimmage. It's what they do. Jahmyr Gibbs versus Minnesota is my RB3. He was on bye last week. He's about the safest choice you can throw into the next game. Devon Achane versus Baltimore was my RB4. God forbid he scored a touchdown last night. That would have been amazing. He's good with it. Derrick Henry, number 5. He cleared 100 yards last night. He was at Miami on Thursday night, RB9. Bijan Robinson at New England. He was RB36 last week, but the Falcons aren't going to give up that. They know he's the star there. James Cook versus Kansas City. Cook was the RB2 last week. That's going to be a shootout. If they give him some touches out of the backfield, catches, yeah, he might shoot up even higher. Kamani Vidal is my RB8. I heard you. Yeah, I know. He faces the Tennessee Titans at Tennessee. He was the RB8 last week. But I'm going to tell you this. Tennessee gives up the 3rd most points to running backs. Vidal has hit a clutch game in 2 of his last 3 games. He's averaging 16.67 points per game over those last 3. Guess what? The Chargers are favored. Vidal's going to get those carries and get a lot of touches. Love him this week. I've got him all the way at RB8. Way ahead of consensus. Let's go. RB9, Kieran Williams versus New Orleans. My God, if the Saints they switched over to Tyler Shuck. He's now the quarterback there. They got switched from Rattler. If they can't win games, can't do stuff, and the Rams are going to be a killer defense. Kieran Williams scores touchdowns every week. He's going to score more touchdowns without that. Josh Jacobs versus Carolina. Not real sure about this. Not really comfortable about our field because the Panthers are a hide and Jekyll team. Panthers bounce back and forth. They play good. They play good. They play great. Then they play terrible. I don't know. Packers are one of those teams that everybody's like, oh, great defense. But if you know as well as I do, you own them in fantasy or you've rostered them and done that, they don't really put up a lot of points on fantasy, and they're not really doing a lot either way. So I don't know about this game. I'm not real comfortable with Jacobs, especially with the fact that he's nursing a hamstring injury. I think it is not super comfortable. But I like him at RB10 because he could probably fall in the end zone at least once, if not twice. RB11. Javonte Williams for the Cowboys. at home versus Arizona. He was tied for RB10 last week. This might be one of the biggest swing and misses we've done all year. Doesn't matter. I love Javonte Williams. I knew he was a good running back. I knew all that. He just didn't fit the Sean Payton system. Is what I would keep. That's what I keep telling myself. But it doesn't matter. He's gonna run for a buck 10, probably at least versus Arizona for fun. Dallas is probably gonna run up the score on Arizona. Marby 12, Chase Brown, Cincinnati Bengals at home versus Chicago Bears. Chicago gives up the 10th most points to running backs. Brown has a 63% clutch rate coming into this game. That's not great. Not as good as we wanted. But guess what? He's 4 of 5 on his last 5 games. That's what we're talking about. We need to start looking at it. Since Flacco has come in, taking over that offense, pay attention to the game log, the injury log. If Flacco is out, throw it all out the window. But with Flacco playing, Brown has had 100+ scrimmage yards in 2 straight. The offenses look better. Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. We've seen it. I'm looking forward to it now. As far as who I'm fading this week at running back, I'm not even excited about it because it's a lot of picks for me and a lot of stuff. I'm fading Ashton Jeanty versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville gives up the 8th fewest points to running backs. The Raiders' offense has struggled as they failed to score more than 24 points in any game this entire year. So, they're not gonna get ahead. They're not gonna be able to push points for Jandy. In their last 2 losses, all right, last 3 weeks they're 1-2, but in the 2 losses they are 71 against 6. 71 against 6. Jandy has a big chance, and I thought the receiving game was going to save him and do all that, but at the end of the day, you can't deny the fact that when you get blown out that way, and it's tough. So he's a fade for me. I think very well he's outside of the top 12. Let's go with that. Buys. Quinshon Judkins. Brees Hall. Saquon Barkley. Rashad White. Bucky Irving. Hopefully we get Bucky back next week off of injuries. Josh Jacobs. DeAndre Swift has been ruled out in Chicago. Pay attention to that with Kyle Monaghay. Ramondre Stevenson out. I don't know. I guess we want to love Travion Henderson. I'm on it. I got it. Alvin Kamara, Tony Pollard, Isaiah Pacheco. These guys all need to be paid attention to. Let's roll. Wide receivers. My wide receiver 1 this week is Jamar Chase. He was wide receiver 4 last week. He's versus Chicago. Wide receiver 2, Puka Nacua versus New Orleans. He was on bye. Apparently, he's been cleared. We're going to see if he's going to play. CeeDee Lamb is my wide receiver 3 versus Arizona. He was wide receiver 18 last week. Jackson Smith and Jigba. He was on bye last week, but he gets Washington this week in Washington. Rashee Rice at Buffalo, wide receiver 2 last week. We could do that again. Let's see how the shootout goes. But he's at Buffalo. Justin Jefferson at Detroit. He was tied for wide receiver 20 last week. Let this man get in the end zone one time, and he's going to crack that 100%. Wide receiver 7, Amon-Ra St. Brown versus Minnesota at home in Detroit. He was on bye last week. Hey, if you've been checking this show, you know for a fact we love Detroit at home. We like the way they score points, so they got it. Wide receiver 8 for me was Jalen Waddle versus Baltimore last night. He was wide receiver 5 last week. You know, he was a touchdown away from scoring 20-plus points. Had him locked in for that. Wide receiver 9, Tedrow McMillan at Green Bay. I get it. Everybody's like, Green Bay's a good defense. I don't care. Tedrow McMillan has been doing what he wants to do whenever he wants to do. And if he gets Bryce Young back again, they're gonna catch up. He was wide receiver 11 last week. I like him as wide receiver 9 this week. Wide receiver 10, Drake London. Yeah, we know. Check the injury report. Love London. If London falls out of here, I got some other guys for you want, but I like London at 10 if he plays. Wide receiver 11, Marvin Harrison Jr. Dallas gives up the most points to wide receivers of anybody in the NFL. Coming off a bye week, I expect Marvin Harrison to dominate. No. He's going to crush things against the terrible secondary in Dallas. They're going to be in the shootout. They're going to put up points. And, Marvin has seen at least 5 targets in every game but one this season. I get it. I know. Even as I said it, I don't feel comfortable with it. But I got him this week. We got him. Let's go. Wide receiver 12, DK Metcalf versus Indianapolis. He was tied for wide receiver 12 last week. And you know what? If the Steelers don't get a new wide receiver, DK Metcalf is that guy. Even if they do, I think they are. But on buys this week, wide receiver. So let's see. We're missing Jerry Jeudy. Yeah. Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Amika Ibuka, Chris Godwin, and maybe Tez Johnson. That's a lot. It's weird that we went through Bob Mageddon and you're feeling like we lost more receivers. I get that. Injuries. Pay attention to Puka Nacua, Drake London, Stephon Diggs, Lab McConkey, Neo Collins, Roma Dunze, Brian Thomas Jr., Rashid Shaheed, Calvin Ridley. I'm pretty sure Ridley is already marked out. He's probably done for the week. But pay attention to that. My biggest fade of the week. It's weird because I keep seeing him pop up in the top 12 and do a lot of stuff, but I'm all right with that. Deebo Samuel. I know. McLaurin's out. I don't trust Samuel. I don't trust him with injuries. I don't trust him to not be hurt. I don't trust him to do anything. Even if he wasn't injured, don't trust him. I'm going to fade him well outside of the wide receiver 24s. He was wide receiver 66 last week. That's it. No, I'm good. Let's go to tight ends. Tight ends last week. What did we hit? 8 of 12? Nah. Yeah, it was good. And then we faded TJ Hawkinson, who was tight end 26. Oh, that was good too. In the most important weeks, it's starting to become more important. Here we go. Let's roll. Tight end 1, Trey McBride. He was on bye, but he gets Dallas. I know Dallas gives up a ton of points to wide receivers and does all this stuff. Trey McBride is their wide receiver 1. He's their monster. What? Tight end 2, George Kittle at New York Giants. He was tight end 8 last week. Tight end 3, Tyler Warren at Pittsburgh. Tight end 12 last week. And then here we go. This might be a crazy one for everybody. Tight end 4 is Tucker Kraft. I'll believe it when I see it. If he becomes the number 1 thing there, he's going to shoot up this list like insanity. He looks like he owns the board. He does that, but I can't trust him yet. Tight end 5. No. As Bob Lung called him, Turd Ferguson, man. Jake. As of right now, he's still tied for tight end 1 for most points. I say tied. No. He's tight end 1 for most points. Nah, I don't want to say anything. But he's my tight end 5 this week. Jake Ferguson versus Arizona at home. Sam Laporta at home in Detroit versus Minnesota, coming off a bye as my tight end 6. Travis Kelce in Buffalo versus Buffalo. He was my tight end 2, he was tight end 2 last week. Kelsey's probably going to kill them, guys. I mean, you got to figure that. Brock Bowers, you probably don't see him this low often. He is at home with the Raiders in Las Vegas versus Jacksonville. I actually like him to be the only person to put up any points there, especially with Travis Hunter getting put on by. Zach Ertz is my tight end 9 at home versus the Seahawks. He was tight end 23 last week, and I know, but McLaurin is out. Debo's not going to do a whole lot. Seattle gives up the 7th most points to tight ends. Ertz has 6+ points in each of his last 2 games. I mean, he's going to do that. 2 of his last 3 games have earned him a clutch game on clutch ratio. He's got it. I like him at tight end 9. Dalton Kincaid versus Kansas City. He was tight end 33 last week. Crazy, but I like him a lot. Projected shootout with Kansas City. They're going to figure stuff out. The tight ends, for some reason, always figure a way out against Kansas City. Kincaid has 6+ targets in more than half of his games this year. And he also has 4+ receptions in 4 of his 6 games. Love that. His high volume is going to propel him to a top 12 tight end this week. Wrapping up my tight ends this week, tight end 11 is Kyle Pitts at New England. He was tight end 6 last week. Tight end 12 this week, TJ Hawkinson, just a reach. He's been hurting. He was tight end 26 last week, but I like him against Detroit this week. Let's go. The buys, you're going to lose Harold Fannin Jr., David Njoku, both from Cleveland, Mason Taylor from the Jets, Dallas Goedert from the Eagles, and maybe K. Dotton from the Buccaneers. Tight end is such a hit or miss with whatever. But like I told you, like Kincaid if you can get him, like Ertz if he's available, Try to figure that stuff out. And then if somebody got frustrated with Hawkinson this week, pick him up. My biggest fade this week, Rondé Gaston. Love him, but he's at Tennessee. Tennessee gives up the 8th fewest points to tight ends. Gaston has been hot. Don't get me wrong. But the the Chargers won't need him this week. They're not going to need him to stretch the seam. They're not going to. Don't get me wrong. If he scores, probably a great lucky touchdown. I love it. But they're not going to need all that. I don't think he's going to get heavy away from the 12. I think probably 15, 16-ish, 18-ish at best. But like I said, if you're playing DFS or a 12-team league and doing stuff, you should probably avoid Gaston this week. Like that. But hey, that's what wraps us up for week 9. Week 8 was Bombmageddon. We did that. Week 9 is Halloween, man. It's the greatest time of the year. We love it. Family loves it. You probably heard it a million times. We are hosting Halloween, doing all the things we can do. Love talking to you guys. Hey, hit me up on X, jkeezy.com or jkeezy. Check us out, bigguyfantasysports.com, idpplus.com. These are some of the greatest tools you can have. I appreciate you listening. Hey, I got you. Follow me, I'll follow you. Let me know you saw me on YouTube. And hey, I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.